Hello, everyone, and welcome to the English Hour. My name is Dylan. We are your hosts for today's lesson.
And I'm Chantel. We are so happy you decided to join us. Welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome. On this podcast, our goal is simple. We want to help you learn English in a way that is fun, easy, and not stressful. We use simple language to tell stories and have everyday conversations.
That's right, Dylan.
Okay, our first word to explain is lost. This is a very common word. Chantel, can you tell us what lost means?
Of course. Lost is an adjective we use when you cannot find something or someone. For example, if you cannot find your keys, you can say, "My keys are lost." Or if you are in a new city and don't know the way, you can say, "I am lost." In our story, Lily cannot find her cat, so Leo is lost.
That's a perfect explanation. It's a simple but very important word. Okay, I will continue with the story. Lily started to search for Leo immediately. First, she looked in all his favorite places. She looked under her bed, she looked behind the big green sofa in the living room, she even opened the cupboards in the kitchen. But Leo was not in any of those places. Lily started to feel very worried.
Let's pause again. We have two great words here, search and worried. Dylan, let's start with search. What does it mean?
Search is a verb. It means to look for something very carefully. You are trying very hard to find something. For example, you can search for your wallet in your house, or you can search for a friend in a crowd. Lily is searching for her cat.
Exactly. And what about the feeling she has, worried?
Worried is a feeling. It's when you feel unhappy and a little bit scared because you are thinking about problems or bad things that might happen. Lily loves her cat, so she is worried that something bad happened to him. A parent might feel worried if their child is late coming home.
That's a very clear explanation. So, Lily searched the house, and now she feels worried. Let's see what she does next. I'll read. Lily decided to check outside. She opened the back door and went into her small garden. She searched behind the flowers and under the bushes. She looked up into the big apple tree. Sometimes Leo liked to climb that tree, but he was not there. She saw her neighbor, Mr. Henderson, in his garden. She asked him, "Excuse me, have you seen my cat?" Mr. Henderson was a kind old man. He said, "No, Lily, I am sorry. I have not seen Leo today. I hope you find him soon." Lily was very sad. She missed Leo very much.
Poor Lily. Her neighbor is kind, but he cannot help her. A neighbor is a person who lives near you, in the house or apartment next to yours. Let's continue. Lily went back inside her cold, quiet house. She went to her bedroom and sat on her bed. She felt like crying. It was almost lunchtime, but she was not hungry. She decided to change her clothes and get her favorite blue sweater from her closet. She walked to the closet and opened the door.
This brings us to another useful word, closet. A closet is a space in a room, like a very large cupboard, where you hang your clothes. In British English, people often say wardrobe, but in American English, closet is very common.
Right. A closet is where you keep your shirts, pants, and sweaters. So Lily opened her closet door, and what did she see?
Inside the closet, on the floor, was an old cardboard box. And inside the box, sleeping on a pile of old blankets, was Leo. He was curled up in a little ball. He heard the door open, and he opened his big green eyes. He let out a small, sleepy sound. Meow. Finally, Lily found her cat.
What a great moment, and a great word, finally. Finally is an adverb. We use it to talk about something that happens after a long time or at the end of a process. It often shows a feeling of relief or impatience. For example, after studying for 3 months, I finally passed my test.
Yes, Lily searched for a long time, so she finally found Leo. It shows the end of her search. Okay, let's read the last part of the story.
Lily laughed with joy. She carefully picked up Leo and hugged him tightly. She was so happy and so relieved. Leo started to purr loudly. He was safe and warm. He was not lost anymore. He was just sleeping in a quiet, dark place. Lily carried him to the kitchen and gave him a big bowl of his favorite fish-flavored food.
That's a very happy ending. And it gives us our last word from the story, relieved. Dylan, can you explain the feeling of being relieved?
Of course. Relieved is the adjective for the feeling you have when something bad or stressful stops. Before, Lily was worried, But now she knows Leo is safe. Her bad feelings are gone, so she feels happy and relaxed. She feels relieved. For another example, I was relieved when the difficult exam was over.
Excellent. And that is the end of our story. Let's quickly say the new words one more time. Lost, search, worried, neighbor, closet, finally, and relieved. We hope you enjoyed that story and learned some new vocabulary.
Yes, great job, everyone. Now it is time to move to our next section, our real-life conversation.
Okay, I'm ready. As we said before, today we are talking all about food.
I'm already feeling hungry. So, Chantel, my first question for you is a big one. If you could only choose one, what is your absolute favorite food?
Oh, wow, that is a tough question. I love so many different kinds of food. But if I have to choose just one, I think I will say tacos.
Tacos, that's a great choice. Why tacos? What is it about them that you love so much?
For me, it's the variety. You can change them every time you make them. You start with a tortilla, either a soft one or a crunchy one. Then you add your protein, like chicken, beef, or even fish or beans. After that, you can add anything you want.
Right, so all the toppings.
Yes, I love to add fresh lettuce, chopped tomatoes, and lots of shredded cheese. Then some salsa, some sour cream, maybe some guacamole. Every single bite has so many different flavors and textures. It's never boring.
That sounds amazing. You're making me want tacos now. Okay, so my turn. My favorite food, without a doubt, is pizza.
Ah, pizza. I think that is one of the most popular foods in the world. What kind of pizza is your favorite?
I love a classic pizza with a thin crust. For toppings, I like to keep it simple. My perfect pizza has pepperoni, mushrooms, and black olives, and of course a lot of gooey, melted mozzarella cheese.
You're making me hungry now. So you like tacos and I like pizza. Do you make tacos at home often?
Oh, I was waiting for you to say that. You don't like olives.
You caught me. Okay, yes, usually I don't like olives, but on pizza, they are okay. It's strange, I know.
That is funny. So do you make your favorite food pizza at home, or do you prefer to order it from a restaurant?
Wait, you asked me first. Do you make tacos at home?
Ah, okay, fair enough. Yes, I make tacos at home at least once every 2 weeks. We call it Taco Tuesday in my house, even if it's on a Friday. It's one of my favorite meals to cook because it's so interactive.
Interactive? What do you mean?
Well, I prepare all the ingredients. I cook the meat, chop the vegetables, make the guacamole. Then I put everything in separate little bowls on the dining table so everyone can come and build their own perfect taco. It's fun.
That's a fantastic idea. A little taco bar. Okay, now your turn to answer. Do you make pizza at home?
I try sometimes, but I am not very good at it. Making the pizza dough from scratch is very difficult for me. It gets sticky and it's hard to make a nice circle shape.
Oh, I understand. Baking can be very precise.
It is, so I have a secret. Sometimes I go to the supermarket and I buy the ready-made pizza dough. It's already mixed and ready to be shaped. That makes my life much easier.
That's not a secret. That's a smart shortcut. I do that sometimes too. It saves a lot of time and effort. So then you just add the toppings?
Exactly. I add the tomato sauce, the cheese, the pepperoni, the mushrooms, my strange olives, and I put it in the oven. It tastes almost as good as a restaurant pizza, and it's fun to make.
That's great. Let's move on from our favorite foods. What about the start of the day? What do you normally eat for breakfast, Dylan?
On weekdays, when I have to go to work, my breakfast is very simple and very fast. I usually have a bowl of cereal with cold milk, and I slice a banana on top. It takes me maybe 3 minutes to prepare and eat.
That sounds quick and easy. Do you drink anything with breakfast?
Oh, absolutely. I cannot start my day without coffee. I make a big cup of black coffee. That's essential for me to wake up properly.
Right. A lot of people need their morning coffee. What about you? Is your breakfast similar?
Actually, it's quite different. I prefer something savory in the morning, not sweet. I usually make 1 piece of toast. I toast some nice whole wheat bread. Then I mash half an avocado and spread it on top. And finally, I put a fried egg on top of the avocado.
Avocado toast with a fried egg? That sounds much more elegant than my bowl of cereal.
It's very simple to make, really. It gives me good energy for the morning. And I'm a tea drinker. I have a cup of green tea with my breakfast.
So you're a tea person and I'm a coffee person. Interesting. What about on the weekends? Do you eat the same breakfast?
On weekends, I have more time, so I like to make a bigger breakfast. Sometimes I make pancakes with maple syrup and fresh berries, or I might make an omelet with cheese and vegetables. It's nice to have a slow, relaxing breakfast on a Saturday morning.
That sounds lovely. I do the same. On Sundays, I often make scrambled eggs with bacon and toast for my family. It's a nice tradition.
It is. So after breakfast comes lunch. What is a typical lunch for you, Chantel? Do you bring food from home or buy it?
I almost always bring my lunch to work. I find it saves money and it's usually healthier. My favorite thing to bring for lunch is leftovers from the dinner I cooked the night before. It's so easy.
Leftovers are the best lunch. Zero effort in the morning. I am the same. If I cook pasta for dinner, I make extra so I can have it for lunch the next day.
Exactly. If I don't have leftovers, I'll often make a big salad in a jar. I put the dressing at the bottom, then hard vegetables like carrots, then chicken or beans, and finally the lettuce at the top. It stays fresh all morning.
That is a very clever idea. A salad in a jar. I usually just make a quick sandwich if I don't have leftovers. Ham and cheese is my go-to.
You can't go wrong with a classic sandwich. So we've talked about breakfast and lunch. What about dinner? What is a typical dinner for you on a busy weeknight?
On a weeknight, I want something that is fast and easy to cook. I don't have much energy after a long day at work. So a very common dinner for me is pasta with a simple tomato sauce. I might add some vegetables like broccoli or spinach.
Pasta is a great weeknight meal. It's so quick. I often make stir fries. I chop up whatever vegetables I have in my refrigerator, peppers, onions, broccoli, carrots. I stir fry them in a hot pan with some chicken or tofu, add some soy sauce, and serve it with rice. It takes about 20 minutes.
That's a great idea for using up vegetables. Very healthy, too. This brings me to another question. Do you enjoy the process of cooking, Chantel?
I do, very much. For me, cooking is a creative and relaxing activity, especially on the weekends when I have more time. I love to put on some music, get all my ingredients ready, and follow a new recipe.
So you like to try new things? You're an adventurous cook.
I try to be. Sometimes the results are amazing and I have a new favorite dish. Other times, it's a disaster and we have to order pizza. But the process is always fun. What about you, Dylan? Do you like to cook?
I think I'm a functional cook, not a creative one. I cook because I need to eat. I can follow a recipe, but I don't often experiment. I have about 5 or 6 simple meals that I know how to cook well, and I just rotate them.
There's nothing wrong with that. Having a few reliable dishes is a great skill. It makes grocery shopping easier too.
That's true. Speaking of grocery shopping, how often do you go? Do you do one big shop for the week?
I try to. On Sunday, I sit down and plan our meals for the week ahead. I write a list of all the ingredients I need, then I go to the supermarket and buy everything. It helps me stay organized and avoid buying things I don't need.
You are so organized. I am a bit more chaotic. I usually go to the grocery store 2 or 3 times a week, just buying what I need for the next day or two.
Well, that way your food is always very fresh. So there are good things about both methods.
True. Okay, let's talk about the best part of any meal, dessert. Chantel, do you have a sweet tooth?
Oh yes, a very big sweet tooth. Sweet tooth is a great idiom. It means you love eating sweet foods like candy, cake, and dessert. And I definitely do. My favorite dessert is simple, a really good quality chocolate ice cream.
A classic choice. Can't go wrong with chocolate ice cream. Do you have a favorite brand?
I do. There's a local shop near my house that makes homemade ice cream. Their dark chocolate flavor is incredible. What about you? What's your go-to dessert?
For me, it's apple pie, especially a slice of warm apple pie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top. The mix of the warm, sweet pie and the cold, creamy ice cream is just perfect.
Ugh, that is one of the best dessert combinations ever. My mom makes a wonderful apple pie for holidays. It always reminds me of home.
See, food and memories are so connected. That's one of the beautiful things about it. What about snacks? If you're feeling hungry between meals, what do you reach for?
I try my best to choose healthy snacks. My usual snacks are a piece of fruit, like an apple or a banana, or maybe a small cup of Greek yogurt. If I want something crunchy, I'll have a handful of almonds.
You are very disciplined. I try to be healthy, but I love salty snacks. My weakness is potato chips. If I open a bag of chips, it's very hard for me to stop eating them.
I think a lot of people have that problem. It's all about balance. It's okay to have chips sometimes.
That's what I tell myself. Let's flip the question. We've talked about foods we love. Is there any food that you really dislike?
Yes, and you already know the answer. Olives. I have tried to like them many times, but I just can't. The taste is too strong and salty for me. I always pick them off my pizza.
And I am the opposite. I love them. It's funny how different people's tastes can be. For me, the food I dislike is mushrooms. I just can't get past the texture. It's a bit spongy and strange to me.
See, and mushrooms are one of my favorite pizza toppings. It just shows that there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to food preferences.
Exactly. What about eating out? How often do you go to restaurants?
I love the experience of going to a restaurant. It's a nice break from cooking and cleaning. We probably go out for dinner once a week, usually on the Saturday night. It feels like a special treat.
It does. What kind of cuisine do you usually choose? Are you loyal to one type of restaurant, or do you like to try new places?
I love trying food from different countries. My favorites are Italian for the wonderful pasta, and Thai food for its amazing mix of sweet, sour, and spicy flavors. There's a small Thai restaurant near my apartment that makes the best green curry.
Oh, I love green curry. I really enjoy Japanese food. Going out for sushi is one of my favorite things to do. The fish is so fresh and the presentation is always beautiful.
Sushi is fantastic. This conversation is officially making me very, very hungry.
Me too. I think I know what I'll be having for dinner tonight. Definitely pizza.
And I am now dreaming of building my own tacos. Well, this has been a really fun and detailed conversation. We covered everything from our favorite foods to cooking habits and eating out.
We hope that all of you listening found it helpful. Remember, talking about everyday topics like food is a fantastic way to practice your English speaking and listening skills.
Okay, for our last section today, let's do a quick language recap. We will review some of the most useful words and phrases from our story and our conversation.
Let's do it. From our story, The Lost Cat, let's remember the word worried. It means feeling unhappy and afraid about a problem. For example, she was worried because her friend did not answer the phone.
Good one. Another word was finally. We use this when something happens after a long wait. For example, after flying for 12 hours, we finally arrived in Japan.
Perfect. And let's not forget relieved. That's the feeling when stress or worry is gone. For example, he was so relieved to find his lost wallet.
Now for some words from our food conversation. The word favorite means the one you like more than all the others, as in, what is your favorite season of the year?
And ingredients. Those are the items of food you need to make a dish. For example, please go to the store and buy the ingredients for the soup.
Great. We also use the adjective delicious. It's a stronger way to say something tastes very good. For example, thank you for dinner. The chicken was delicious.
And finally, the idiom sweet tooth, which means a love for sweet-tasting foods. For example, I have a real sweet tooth, so I always eat dessert.
We hope this review was helpful for you. A good idea is to write these new words down and try to use them in a sentence this week.
That's the best way to make them part of your vocabulary. Well, that is all the time we have for today's episode.
Thank you all so much for listening to the English Hour. We really enjoyed spending this time with you.
We hope you'll tune in again for our next episode. We will have a new story and a new conversation topic. Next time, we are going to be talking about hobbies and free time activities.
That sounds like a great topic. Until then, keep practicing, stay curious, and have a wonderful week. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye for now.